Welcome back to Football Fun Dates and to this segment, the FPL Fun Dates. Firstly, I'd like to apologize to everybody. I could not get an episode out last week. I wasn't keeping too well. I tried to get a few teams together, try to put those out on Twitter as well, but just wasn't able to. Well, my game week fared better than my health did last weekend, but I'm going to make sure that I don't miss any more game weeks. And again, apologize if people did reach out to me and I wasn't able to reply to you all in time. In this episode, obviously, we'll be talking about the team selection tips, differentials, and captain picks for game week 5. I'll also be doing a game week 5 possible wild card. You know, two premiums, one premium. Do you want Salah and Trent? Do you want to look at other differential midfielders who could help you structure a better team? Possible forwards you might be overlooking. Obviously, keeping in mind the fixtures, right? So we'll be going through all of that. Don't forget to subscribe on the channel if you haven't already. I've been looking at a few of the figures offline, and it's funny because 50% of the viewers are non-subscribers. So thank you so much for the ones who are still tuning in and giving us good feedback. But I really appreciate it even more if you could just hit on that subscribe button, and you can hit us up on Twitter and on Instagram as well. So quickly, I'm going to take you through what my team looks like right now before I make any changes. So Sufal got me those points last week, which I was very happy about. Shaw as well with a solitary assist over there. Although, again, disappointing not to get a clean sheet there, right? United seem to leak in those goals. Trent Alexander-Arnold obviously keeping up to his 2019 form and starting of the season very, very well. He looks like a set and forget like he did at that time and nothing like what we saw last season with patchy form. Ben Rama in midfield, blank 2 weeks that I've got him in, which is a bit disappointing for me. Not much promise against United, but I have my priorities elsewhere. As you can see, Harvey Barnes is still in my side. Mo Salah has a captain's armband for now. I think I might favor him over Ronaldo the way it's going so far. Jota, I took him out last week, tried something around, didn't work, got him back in. So I took him out the week before and got him back in. So I think I'm going to stick with him, especially with Firmino out. Antonio obviously suspended for this one, but I don't know if I'm going to swap him out for Bamford just yet. Tony, again, as disappointing as Barnes, dropping 0.2, killing my team value and making things difficult to make an easy move. And Ronaldo, I got into my team last week before the deadline. So, last week I took out Bruno, got in Ronaldo, and got in Jota for Bruno over there. Wilson obviously made way for Ronaldo because of his injury. A little disappointing there because I like Newcastle's fixtures. I felt that Wilson was doing enough, but that's the risk with having Wilson and Antonio in your team, right? You always have the risk of hamstrings and just those injury niggles. So even though a good fixture run is around the corner, you don't know if the players will be able to pack those fixtures. Potential transfers I see myself doing is number one, obviously, is holding the transfer. I could get Veltman into the squad and just go with a 4-4-2 again. I'm I'm not really sure about that, right? Which is why I think an Antonio is someone I still want to keep around. So to go Tony up to a Jimenez or Tony up to a Bamford would require me go Barnes downgrading further, going to a Rafinha maybe as a solitary move. I have zero point 0.5 in the bank for Benrama. That could be my one free transfer too. So a lot of things to think about there for me, right? I could essentially also go Barnes to Rafinha and just take a -4 and sort out the Sufal to a Wolves player as well because I want to cash in on a Wolves clean sheets I potentially see coming. So those are the things I've been thinking about right now. Before we do that and before I take you to the transfer page in the end and we look at the wildcard potential team as well, let's talk about differentials. Yes, Saar is still around even though he's at 5.2% ownership, but I feel the Watford's fixtures are still a little difficult to ignore for me. I personally think there's enough going on over there that you give him a shot. If he's in your team, I would say hold on to him because it's Norwich, obviously, which is a big game. Newcastle again, good game. Leeds could be very open. See, Leeds, what's put me a little bit off Rafinha is although the fixtures are good, the centre back situation, right, with injuries and red card to Struik as well. I don't know how that's going to work out. But yeah, that doesn't completely rule out keeping in Rafinha. It just put me off a little bit. I'm just airing my thoughts out there. Again, you look at the remaining fixtures, so it's Leeds, Liverpool, then it's Everton, Southampton. So it's not really all bad for Watford, right? So at least for the next 3 game weeks, I wouldn't waste a transfer taking him out. And I think if you want to take him in, make space for the non-wild carders to make a double premium to start making space. I think Sar's a good player to have at 6.0 in that price range because it's in Rafinha at 6.5, Trincao at 5.9. He's in the mix as well, right? So Trincao has been promising. He's been showing some flair. He was good against United as well. And I feel that is just about time where the Trincao, Jimenez, Traore start linking up well. So again, if you're not looking at a Sar and you want to go in for a 6.1 and lower midfielder, I would say Trincao is definitely worth the shout, especially, and I'll talk about Trincao and Jimenez here as well to make it easier, especially looking at the fixtures, right? It's Brentford, Southampton, Newcastle, Villa, Leeds, Everton, Crystal Palace, and it continues a bit after that, right? So there is a promising run over there. So I think both of them are well worthy of a shout out here, right? If you're trying to look at just Rafinha in midfield, take out Antonio because you fear injuries piling up with European fixtures coming in. You don't want to have him around. Although West Ham do have Leeds, Brentford, Leeds, Brentford, and Everton after that. So again, Leeds and Brentford are very promising fixtures for Antonio. But I think Jimenez just could be worth the hit, could be worth the punt. Sorry. Has he been a player who's ever got hat tricks? No, he's never been that kind of player. He's gotten those say solitary goals, gets you that guaranteed goal at least the season before he got injured, right? So I get the hesitation there, not going in for him. Obviously, apart from that, you have other strikers you could look at too, right? There is promise in taking Richarlison, who will be playing through the middle since DCL is injured. Villa, Norwich, United, West Ham, Watford, Wolves. Decent run of fixtures there as well for Richarlison, and not Richarlison in Everton in general, right? Which is why I have Townsend there. I had Townsend and Gray on my watch from game week 1 if you watched our first 3 episodes. And I think that obviously Gray at 5.7, the ownership has gone ahead, but Townsend shows equal promise for me, especially if Richarlison plays in the middle, Townsend and Gray starting. I think that seems to be working very well. Obviously, if James Rodriguez comes into the mix and Gray showing some more form, Townsend could be the one missing out, but I think at 5.4, and again, looking at the 6.1 and lower bracket, definitely worth the shout. Harrison for me still is in the mix because I look at the fact that Rafinha is struggling, but Harrison does so much to have a name in there. But if I had to go between Harrison, Townsend, and Sar, I'll probably not look at Harrison in that mix. But just for the sake of Leeds fixtures, right, the most promising fixtures, along with Wolves, I would say he deserves the mention at least. Southampton, WordPress, most of the set pieces happen through him, right? And he's shown some good form. Angie Adams and him have shown good form in this season. Their fixtures aren't the worst after Chelsea, right? It's Arsenal, who the way they're playing could be an easy game for not an easy game, but could be a game. Easy would be too unfair to Arsenal fans. I apologize. Could be a game where you could see potential returns for them there, right? Sorry, not Arsenal. I'm looking at the wrong fixture. Then Southampton has Man City and Wolves. So after the Man City game, I think Wolves, Chelsea, Leeds, Burnley, Watford, Aston Villa. It's a good run of games coming in there. You could potentially look at considering if you don't have any money in the bank, right? You're stuck with Benrahma. You want to move him out in a week or two. You can't go up to Rafinha. If you want to make a sideways move, Word Prowess is not a bad shout out there. But these are the differentials I feel for this week and coming few weeks who could play a good part in enabling you to have a wildcard team with those two premiums. These are the players in midfield who ideally will help you beyond your Rafinhas and your Benrahmas who will try to help you slot in a side, right? I mean, Townsend to 5.7 Gray is really not much of a difference. But I'm just looking at the differential aspect of it as well and not just the budget aspect of it. Moving on to the captain picks for this week. I think Salah still is a favorite for me against Palace. Palace definitely looked good in the end of that game against Spurs, right? But 10 men look low morale without Son, without Kane not looking good. I feel a lot of it had to do with just the game and how it turned out to be. I think Liverpool still have a good shout out there. Apart from that, Ronaldo and Bruno versus West Ham looks like a cagey game with Soufal, Cresswell. Without Antonio, they might look a little more defensive. They could obviously try out the few players they've tried out. So Benrahma didn't start midweek, right? So Benrahma could have fresh legs against United defense, who look like they have a goal conceding in them still, even with Varane. Those mistakes seem to have not been ironed out well. So you could keep Benrahma along in your side, although I don't prefer him, right? But to the captaincy part of it, I think Ronaldo, Bruno are still favorites. If you have Bruno, no Ronaldo, I think Bruno captaincy is really worth a shout out as well. But if you have Ronaldo and if it's Ronaldo Salah, I think Salah just about takes the edges ahead for me. But obviously, Ronaldo's in goal scoring form too. 3 goals in his 2 starts for United. That's against Newcastle and against Young Boys midweek, although there was a loss. So obviously, it would be a very, very brave man to bet against Ronaldo as well. Just talking about purely the fixtures, looking at the way it's going, the form. I know Ronaldo's form is there, like I said, but I think Salah kind of just takes it for me. Lukaku obviously is very differentially for me here against Spurs, which is not like a most promising fixture, you would say. Looking at the injuries though to the forward line, two more adding up, midweek. Looking at Tanganga not there, I just feel that maybe Chelsea could bully Spurs. I could be wrong. But if he's in your side and you don't want to look at Salah, you want to just try something different, I think Lukaku could be worth a decent shout out as a differential captain. Outside of the top sides, I think Bamford is a good shout out against Newcastle. So you might want to captain Bamford if you're looking at a differential aspect there. Anybody else who I'm missing out on, I'm just double checking. I think that's where I would see myself in when I think Newcastle, Bamford, or even if you have Bamford and Rafinha both, I would say Bamford definitely is the way to go over there. Now I'm going to move on to what my team would look like with an ideal wild card, which people want with a double premium. Although that's not the wild card I personally want to endorse for myself or don't see myself doing as of now. I thought I'll wild card 7 or 8 ideally after game week 7. But this is what the team looks like so far if I give you a wild card draft. So this is ideally what people want in their wild card when they talk about they want two premium forwards in terms of Ronaldo and Lukaku. Obviously, it could have been Harry Kane on another day if Harry Kane was in good form, right? So Ronaldo, Lukaku in there along with Trent and Salah. Now, obviously, when you plan your wildcard, you want to target the fixtures, you want to get out players who not perform for you. But you also want to have a good balance in terms of if those players don't work out and you're putting all that money into two premium assets, you want to be able to get those players out and be able to redistribute the money much easier, right? For example, if I'm looking at the squad right now, I've taken out Barnes obviously wasn't doing very well for me. Luke Shaw makes way as well. I've taken out Antonio. See, Antonio, again, like I said, depends really much on how Europe works out for Antonio. He could finally be injury free this season and potentially West Ham could do very, very well. Only though my worry always is with the likes of him and Callum Wilson, who I took out last week for Ronaldo, is the fact that they're just so injury prone, you can never really trust them, can you? So targeting the fixtures, obviously Rafinha and Bamford have come in. I've gotten Gray just because of fixtures as well as a little bit of form. Richarlison plays up top through the middle, right? So Gray and even possibly Townsend at 5.4 could do wonders at that price point, but James Rodriguez coming in there could potentially mess with one of the players, and I feel that could be Townsend if Gray keeps up his goal scoring form. Ronaldo, obviously, fixtures for United turn after game week 7, just to show everybody. It goes to Everton, Leicester, Liverpool, Tottenham, Man City, Watford, Chelsea. I mean, till Arsenal in 14, really not the best run of fixtures, but only a brave one would, or a brave person would bet against Ronaldo, right? Which does give the argument, though, that looking at that fixture run, which is why it's okay to let go of a Luke Shaw. With Cody coming in with such good fixtures over there, or a Markal at 4.6, that's 0.9 in the bank or 1 million in the bank with Brentford, Southampton, Newcastle, Aston Villa, Leeds, Everton, Palace, West Ham, Norwich, Burnley. A very good fixture until game week 14. And what this helps you do is keep up with your high scoring forward line. So Bamford comes in there at 7.9 and Leeds fixtures, everyone knows how good they are, right? Potentially you could also look at Jimenez in there, double up on Wolves looking at those fixtures. You could look at taking Bamford out, like I said here. Let's say you just get Jimenez in here just to give you a better look at the team and the overall structure over here. So Jimenez coming in here could obviously add 0.5 to the rest of your team as well. You could look at better keeper. For example, in this case, I'm not changing my keeper yet because I'm not seeing that much potential elsewhere. But if you look at the fixtures, you could also look at double up of defense of Wolves if you don't go in for a Trinca or a Jimenez. You could look at the Wolves keeper and a Cody or a Markal going in there as well and giving the double up there. That's how you save up from not going for a Bamford, for example. Obviously, you could still keep a Benrahma in there if you like the way West Ham are looking and if Benrahma starts scoring again. So 2 blanks obviously put you off, right? Livramento over there for me, I think was a no-brainer only because you see a 4.1 starting. You see Brandon Williams there at 4.0 at Norwich as well starting. So you see, those are the kind of players you keep in to have a better squad, right? So don't think too much about those. Worst case, though, they're starters, so that's great. You can have 2 points coming off the bench, hopefully, in games. You see a COVID coming in, a COVID player still coming in, unfortunately. Players missing out there. Now, a Ben White over a Veltman is only again potentially looking at fixtures, right? Uh, I really like Arsenal's fixtures. I feel with Burnley, Tottenham in the middle, but Brighton, Palace, Villa, Leicester, Watford, Liverpool, Newcastle, and then you see the run after United again. It's Everton, Southampton. So if they get in a good goal scoring form, they're not really a bad team to look at. You know, they do have a good run going there. That brings in your Odegaards at 5.5, 5.3 because those are the players who are going to be feeding your Aubameyang this year. Pepe again, we're not really seeing much of at that price point. You still have better options to look at, right? But yeah, ideally, if you're just looking at wildcarding this game week with the fixtures to come and you want double premium forwards, ideally, I think this is the way you can make it happen. You can obviously change things around a little bit. You can go in, like I said, the Jimenez instead of a Bamford. You can take Cody up to Semedo. You can have the Wolves keeper in there as well instead, or a Cody double up there. So potentially there are options for you to make those moves. This is what I see. Is this a wild card? I would go for the one I'm looking at in game week 7, 8. I don't think so. I'll be going with two premium forwards, right? So this is what I would look at. This is what my team is right now. Potentially, this is how the structure looks like at least. Um, I think Antonio, unless he's doing very well, Antonio goes out. I would try to target the remaining of Wolves' fixtures unless I bring in Bamford right now. Obviously, in this week, because I still have time to make that move. Let's say I get Bamford in there as well. And I spoke about United and Chelsea's fixtures, right? I think I might favor Lukaku there as of now. That's my plan. Obviously, this could change because obviously I do not want to say obviously a third time here and bet against Chelsea, bet against United, sorry. So yeah, it is Tottenham and City. But then there's Southampton, Brentford, Norwich, Newcastle, Burnley, Leicester. Very promising fixtures for the Chelsea side right now, the way they're looking, right? I would not want to bet against Chelsea either. They're looking a little menacing. I would want to keep hold on Jota till Bobby comes back, and I do see if you are wildcarding, why not keep a double up of Salah Jota, triple up with Trent Alexander, obviously, right? I think that has merit in there as well. Barnes obviously would make way. I could look at Rafinha or other players I spoke about. There's if Rafinha's not looking good when I wildcard, Sar looking at his fixtures and form, Trincao 5.9, Odegaard potentially over there. You could also look at City players, right? You could look at Ferran Torres at 7.2 if they're doing well. I could tinker out Luke Shaw. Because like I said, United fixture run gets so difficult. It's not impossible to look without taking out Shaw, right? For now, I'll take in Cody. You can also take 4.6 Markal in there. Obviously, I'll take out Amarte. I said get Livramento in there because you want to take a player who's not going to be playing, right? Although Evans is injured, but I feel with Westergaard in there, there's enough happening in case of Amarte not having to start at centre back. Would I stick with Veltman? Would I twist? Palace, Arsenal, Norwich, City, Liverpool, and then from game week 11 to 13, there's some hope with Newcastle, Villa, Leeds. I think I might just, like I said, risk taking up Ben White if he's still at that promising 4.4 price point. It's just I feel with the fixtures I already showed you guys with Arsenal, why not take a shout? I think there's enough to rotate your defenders in there, right? Obviously, I have Soufal in here who will make way. Now, there are two ways to do this. You can look at Cancelo, a City player, because City's fixtures turn as well. So you need to look at City's fixtures after game week 8. After 7, sorry, that's Liverpool gets done in 7. Then is Burnley, Brighton, Crystal Palace, United, which is a slightly tough one. Everton, West Ham, Villa, Watford, Wolves, Leeds, Newcastle. Very good run, what I would say. So looking at their fixture run and assuming Pep's Roulette takes some break, I think Cancelo at 6.0 the way he's looking this season, definitely a good premium player to look at. Now, this is the team I stick to, right? And obviously, I rotate out a Jota to a Ziyech if Chelsea are looking in form. Ziyech at 7.4, like I said, Torres at 7.2. You could look at your Trincao, you could look at Odegaard, I already spoke about. 7.7 right now, I could look at only Jimenez in here. If I've held on to Antonio, prices fallen, it could be Antonio over there. Or you could look at other, forwards by then. Would you consider going down to a Dennis and packing your midfield? Yes. I will just show you guys that. You can look at a Dennis. You can look at a low forward. You can look at uh, anybody really who probably won't start in there, and you could use that 2.5, like I said, to keep money around. You can upgrade your. I would upgrade my keeper. I could potentially upgrade one of my midfielders. I could get in Grealish somehow if Grealish is in form at 8. If Rafinha is not doing well, I could get a Grealish in here. If not, a Ferran Torres. Give me a lot of scope to add to a good midfield, a good forward balance, and give me a good enough defense to rotate with, right? So I would be looking at fixtures where I would target Leeds, target Wolves, like I already said earlier, make the most of Liverpool's fixtures. Ronaldo and Lukaku, the double up, or potentially with Spurs players coming back in, looking at Spurs fixtures will be actually seen closer to time. But this is how I would wildcard, and potentially these are the players you could see in my side. So do let me know if you have any other questions, any other wildcard doubts that you might have, what kind of wildcard do you want to look at, any other combination that you can't see happening, or you want just clarification on the same. And I'll be very, very happy to help you out on that. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. And again, I apologize so much for not being able to get one out last week. I'll try to make sure that never happens again. And don't forget again to hit subscribe on the channel. It really helps us grow. And I want to reach 1,000 subscribers before game week 10. I know we're just 5 game weeks away, but share this with your friends if you really like it. And whatever you think we can change, or you don't want to see, or you want to see more of, please let me know, and I'm happy to work on it for y'all. Best of luck for this game week, and tune in to the next episode. I look forward to hearing from y'all. Take care.